Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boy Hood Diggity, the Rock Reactor, back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I proceed, let me know where you tapping in from. Let me know what country, what city, what mountain, what hill, what cave, what island, what planet, what universe. Let me know where you at. Represent your hood. Yes, sir. Now, I think a lot of people would agree that President Biden has to go up as one of the worst presidents in history. I would agree. Because according to this, some say 20 million. I heard somebody said 20 million. But according to this, President Biden allowed 10 million unvetted illegal immigrants to enter the United States. They all entered under Biden's administration. That's what the ICE chief estimates. Now, guys, where does bad decision as a leader, right? Slash stupidity slash insanity, when does it get so much that it turns into criminal wrongdoing with repercussions and accountability? Where does all that fit in, guys? And not just Biden, but his whole administration, because these things that are happening as far as the shootouts and stuff like that, they've always happened. But now a lot of money, a lot of resources needs to be spent on getting rid of all the illegal immigrants. A lot of resources are being spent on that to get rid of them. And to at least arrest them and keep them contained. I don't know. It's crazy. But let's take a listen to this one. Trump tightens U.S. immigration after the D.C. shooting. A lot of people are going to suffer after that. That's what's crazy, that because of this action, President Trump is going to take the gloves off. Let's listen, guys. And before we do, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Let's go.
The president has been very active this week, reacting quickly to that shooting and then working with federal agencies to direct new immigration measures. We heard him speak about his issues about past vetting measures of migrants during the Biden administration. Take a listen.
There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
And the president directed his administration to immediately pause issuing visas to anyone traveling on an Afghan passport, as well as stop processing all immigration requests from Afghan nationals. Now, the directives go beyond the country. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced all asylum decisions will be put on hold until every person is vetted and screened. Now, a member of the Senate and Armed Services Committee is defending this increased vetting of those from Afghanistan.
We even have reports where people are traveling back to Afghanistan and coming back to the United States. If they leave and they're able to enter into Afghanistan, which is a Taliban-held country at this point, and able to get back out on their own, they're probably compromised.
And Kevin, in other news, President Trump posted on Truth Social that any executive order or document signed by President Joe Biden with an auto pen is no longer effective. So he does remain pretty busy between rounds of golf and spending time with his family here in Palm Beach.
I'll say, and that is par for the course for this president. Dana Marie, thank you so much. I am pleased to be joined now by former acting ICE director and former federal prosecutor and friend of the program, Jonathan Fahey. Let me ask you first, before we dive into the whole immigration-migration thing, I just want just a tiny bit of clarification on the auto pen circumstance.
Okay, so one passed away. I don't think I remember hearing that about one of the soldiers passing away. My condolences to him and his family. He died protecting his nation. Guys, you need to understand, I'm not in the United States, but my family is there. And I commend President Trump and his administration because you guys are they're trying to protect their country. And that's what government should do. That's what authorities should do, protect their country. How are you going to allow 10 million unvetted? Unvetted means that they don't know who the fuck you are. You just go in and they don't really know who you are. They don't really check you or nothing. And the word undocumented, that means you don't have any documents. That means they don't know who you are. I live in a country where I'm not gonna get it too into it, but illegal immigrants here, they do shit, they move somewhere else and they never catch them. Some kill, some rape, and they never catch them. Because they're not documented, they're not in the system, they don't know who the hell they are. So it's something that Americans need to think about, and everybody that talks about ICE and everybody that try to defund ICE and try to attack ICE is something that you guys need to think about.
The House feels very strongly that this is something that's specifically carved out for the president himself to execute. And in this case, it looks an awful lot like there are staffers doing it and other people inside the administration. That would seem to make these auto pen executive orders and commutations null and void. Do I have that right?
Well, I think, yeah, the real issue is, did Joe Biden know these were being signed, and did he authorize people to sign them? Because you can delegate that, but I think that's a really good question. And think about this. If Joe Biden were to change his will in the last couple of years, and God forbid he passes away down the road, do you think the family members that got cut out of that will wouldn't be complaining, saying this guy didn't have any idea what was going on? And of course they would. So this is certainly a legitimate thing to look into, and the fact when you combine that with his overall, at least, appearance of cognitive issues at the end of his presidency, it's certainly a legitimate issue.
And we're talking about that.
That's definitely right, man. You guys got to know that Biden wasn't well, and it's not even his fault. A lot of the shit wasn't even his fault. It's the people that put him there. Biden should have stepped down a long time ago. And then you guys had the nerve to have him reelected, attempt to have him reelected. That is crazy.
Thousands, Jonathan. On top of that, we do know that there were staff members who said, yes, I did act on behalf of the president, but we don't have any proof for that. I mean, was there an email trail? Did he say specifically? And again, if he's interviewed and he is not forthright and honest about what happened, he could find himself in legal jeopardy, could he not?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, and I think they really should keep digging into this. I'd love to hear Joe Biden interviewed and say, tell us about these pardons. Why did you issue this one or that one? And see if he has really any recollection of doing these pardons, because you can't just simply delegate to a staff member, say, sign anything you want. You could say, I agree with this and it's okay to sign on my behalf, but that's the real distinction here, and I would be very surprised if he really was informed and had consent to having all of these pardons that were entered into at the very, very end.
Yeah, it's going to make for a very...
If Biden wasn't well before, can you imagine now? I don't think anything that Biden says should be taken into consideration or should be accounted for.
Very interesting legal battle perhaps down the road. Want to obviously talk about the D.C. shooting. Laura Burns, I thought, laid this out fairly clearly. This vetting, people keep talking about, well, he was vetted. This person was vetted, that person was vetted. You have to understand, Jonathan, vetting is one day. Who knows what happened days later? Listen to the sound, get your reaction on the other side.
But the ability to vet individuals in that chaotic environment was extremely difficult because of the naming conventions that were in Afghanistan. Some individuals used first name only. There were lacks of date of birth. There were lacks of identification documents. And so when you're talking about thousands of people fleeing violence and flooding onto planes, we weren't prepared.
Yeah, we weren't prepared. And look at the picture. People crammed on an aircraft. Who knows who these people are?
Exactly. And this idea that you could have even vetted them in any meaningful way, they're simply just running people through databases. And it's not like you're going to get the all clear from the Taliban to say this person's perfectly safe. So it's really just almost a perfunctory performance to even pretend to vet people. But they didn't take it.
That right there that you see right there, I think is just suicide for a nation. How you gonna put up? How do you know who these people are? I mean, the Taliban could have said, listen, could have sent a whole mess of, a whole bunch of secret operatives in there, and they probably could still be in the United States. That is crazy.
At that next level, which is interviewing and deeper dives that you might be able to weed out some dangerous people. But remember, this is really part of the overall Biden pattern. It wasn't just limited to Afghanistan. We had probably 10 million people cross our southern border, admitted to this country, and nobody knows who they were either. So it's just really part of this practice where they put public safety behind this political interest of mass migration. But if you look at the total number of people that came over from Afghanistan, I think it's somewhere about 190,000. So, a small to mid-sized city, and we don't really know who these people are. And it really is, quite concerning, because initially we were told we're bringing out the people that helped us, the translators and people like that. Well, were there really 190,000 people that helped us in a meaningful way? And it certainly begs the question, if that was the case, how was the Taliban easy to overrun the country so quickly? So there's so many unanswered questions, but the main thing is there's a major dereliction of duty by the Biden administration that puts all of us at risk, not just the National Guard members.
Dereliction of duty. Wow, that's so beautiful. He put it so well. Dereliction of beauty. I wish I could have said that.
But all of us at risk going forward, because we don't know who else is in this country.
Yeah, we don't know. And obviously that process now, not just sort of hitting the pause button on migration, but also making sure that we have interviews and we are continuing to sort of unpack exactly the extent of who's in this country, where they are, and we need to make contact moving forward. The president saying as much in his proclamation over the weekend. Jonathan Fahey, great to see you, my friend. Thank you as always. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone.
Guys, we all have to admit, and whoever doesn't, please let me know in the comments, okay? Please let me know in the comments. But this is what I think. I think 85% of President Trump's of the whole time of the whole 4-year presidency term, of his whole term, 85% of the time, I believe that he is spending it basically cleaning Biden and his administration's mess. That's all he's doing. If you think about it, most of the stuff that he's doing is basically just cleaning up his mess, specifically the internal ones, letting all those people in. I mean, it's just so many things, and the resources that need to be spent. ICE, the National Guard, Border Patrol, you have even the pilots and everything, taking people out, housing people that are illegal. Some people just don't see that, guys, but it's something that you guys need to see. That I don't know what's wrong with the Democrats, guys, for real. I don't know. I'm dying for the next election to come in to see who they're gonna bring and what's going to happen, because they're just too weak right now, and their credibility is in the basement. Guys, you already know, man. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Peace, love, and God bless.